Here is a game nobody teaches you. Try to become richer while making it impossible for strangers to notice. Keep the old phone longer. Drive the reliable car. Repeat the same clothes. Stop replacing things that still work. Meanwhile, save automatically, invest consistently, and protect every dollar from your ego. At first, it may feel like you are falling behind. Years later, you may discover that everyone who looked richer was spending while you were quietly becoming wealthy. These are 10 Japanese money habits built for exactly that kind of life. 1. Practice kakebo. Make every dollar explain itself. Kakebo is a traditional Japanese method of managing household money by writing down what you earn, what you spend, and what you want to save. The idea is very simple. If you do not know where your money is going, it becomes difficult to control it. Many people think they need a much higher income to become financially secure, but sometimes the real problem is not how much they earn. The problem is that small amounts of money leave their hands every day without them noticing. Think about how easily this happens. You buy coffee in the morning, pay a small delivery fee at lunch, order something online because it is on sale, and keep paying for subscriptions you barely use. Each expense may look harmless, but when you add them together at the end of the month, the total can be surprising. Kakebo helps you see these hidden spending habits clearly instead of guessing where your money went. At the beginning of each month, write down how much money you expect to receive, then decide how much you want to save before you start spending. After that, record your important expenses, such as rent, food, transportation, bills, and other daily purchases. You can also separate your spending into categories so you can easily see which areas are taking the most money. The most important part of kakebo is not only writing numbers down. It is asking yourself simple questions before and after spending. Did I really need this purchase? Could I have found a cheaper option? Did this purchase improve my life? Or was I simply bored, stressed, or tempted by a sale? These questions slowly train you to become more careful with money. 2. Use mottainai. Hate waste more than you love buying. Mottainai is a Japanese idea that teaches people to respect what they already have and avoid unnecessary waste. It can apply to food, clothes, household items, money, and even time. Instead of quickly throwing something away or replacing it, you first ask whether it can still be used. This simple way of thinking can save a surprising amount of money over the years. Modern life constantly encourages you to buy newer things. A new phone comes out, fashion changes, furniture starts to look old, or a newer car seems more attractive. But something being old does not mean it has become useless. If your phone still works, your clothes are still good, and your furniture still serves its purpose, replacing them only because something newer exists can quietly drain your money. Mottainai also teaches you to avoid wasting small things. If you buy too much food and throw half of it away, you are also throwing away money. If you buy clothes that you wear only once, that money has been wasted too. Before buying something, think about whether you will actually use it. Buy what you need, use what you buy, and take care of what you already own. This does not mean you should never buy anything new or spend money on things you enjoy. The lesson is to stop replacing useful things without a good reason. Repair something when it makes sense, reuse what still works, and buy new things when they truly improve your life. The less money you waste, the more money you can keep for savings, investments, and your future. 3. Choose quality over quantity. One useful Japanese money habit is choosing quality instead of constantly buying more. Many people try to save money by always choosing the cheapest option, but cheap products can sometimes cost more in the long run. If something breaks quickly and you have to replace it again and again, you may end up spending much more than if you had bought one reliable product from the beginning. For example, imagine buying a cheap pair of shoes that lasts only 6 months. You may need to buy another pair twice a year. But if you buy a better quality pair that lasts several years, the higher price can actually save you money over time. The same idea can apply to clothes, furniture, kitchen tools, electronics, and many other things you use regularly. This does not mean you should always buy expensive products. A high price does not automatically mean high quality. The smarter habit is to think about value. Ask yourself how often you will use the item, how long it should last, and whether it is worth paying a little more for something stronger and more reliable. Sometimes the cheaper option is perfectly fine, but for things you use every day, quality can be a better investment. The goal is to own fewer things that actually serve you well. Instead of buying 5 average products, you may be better off buying 1 good product and taking care of it. This reduces waste, saves you from repeated purchases, and makes your spending more intentional. Over time, buying less but choosing better can help you keep much more of your money. 4. Delay gratification. With a cooling-off period. One of the strongest money habits you can learn is how to wait before buying something you want. Many bad financial decisions happen because people act too quickly. They see something attractive, feel excited, and buy it before thinking about whether they really need it. This is called impulse spending, and it can slowly destroy your ability to save money. A cooling-off period means giving yourself time before making a purchase. Instead of buying something the moment you want it, wait. For a small, unnecessary purchase, wait at least 24 hours. For something more expensive, wait several days or even a week. During that time, ask yourself if you still want the item as much as you did at first. Very often, the excitement disappears and you realize that you did not truly need it. This habit works because desire is often temporary. You may see a new phone, a pair of shoes, a watch, a gadget, or something online and suddenly feel like you must have it. But that feeling is usually strongest in the first few minutes. If you can delay the purchase, your mind becomes calmer and you can make a better decision. You stop buying based on emotion and start buying based on value. Online shopping makes this even more important. Websites are designed to make you act fast. You see messages like, "Only 2 left," "Sale ends today," or "Limited time offer." These messages create pressure because they make you feel that you will lose something if you do not buy immediately. But many times, there will be another sale, another product, or another opportunity later. You do not have to let a countdown control your wallet. Before buying something, ask yourself a few simple questions. Do I really need this, or do I only want it right now? Do I already own something similar? Will I still use this 6 months from now? Can I comfortably afford it without touching my savings? Would I still buy it if it were not on sale? These questions help you separate a real need from temporary excitement. Another useful trick is to add things to a wish list instead of buying them immediately. Leave the item there for a few days. When you come back, you may find that half of the things you wanted no longer seem important. This is a simple way to protect your money without feeling like you are denying yourself everything. Delaying gratification does not mean you should never enjoy your money. You should still buy things that make your life better and bring you real value. The difference is that you make the decision calmly instead of emotionally. When you learn to wait, you become harder to influence with advertising, trends, and pressure from other people. This habit can also help with bigger financial goals. Every time you avoid an unnecessary purchase, that money can stay in your savings, go toward an emergency fund, or be invested for the future. One avoided purchase may not seem important, but hundreds of better decisions over several years can create a huge difference. People who build wealth quietly understand that they do not need to satisfy every desire immediately. They know that waiting today can create more freedom tomorrow. The ability to pause before spending may seem simple, but it is one of the most powerful financial skills you can develop. 5. Pay yourself before your lifestyle. One of the most important money habits you can build is learning to save before you spend. Most people do the opposite. They receive their income, pay their bills, buy what they want, enjoy the month, and then hope there will be something left to save. The problem is that there is usually very little left. Money has a way of disappearing when you do not give it a clear job. So if saving is always the last thing you do, it may never happen consistently. Paying yourself first means treating your savings like an important bill that must be paid every month. The moment your income arrives, you immediately move part of it into savings or investments before you start spending on anything unnecessary. You are basically telling yourself that your future matters just as much as your current lifestyle. Instead of saving what is left after spending, you spend what is left after saving. For example, imagine that you earn $2,000 per month. If you decide to save 10% first, you immediately move $200 into a separate savings or investment account. Now you have $1,800 left for your bills, food, transportation, and other expenses. This simple change can completely transform your finances because saving becomes automatic instead of optional. You do not need to start with a huge amount. If saving 20% feels impossible, start with 5%. If even that feels difficult, begin with a smaller amount that you can repeat every month. The amount is less important in the beginning than building the habit. Once saving becomes normal, you can slowly increase it as your income grows or as you reduce unnecessary expenses. This habit works especially well when you automate it. You can arrange for part of your income to move automatically into another account as soon as you get paid. When the money is moved before you have a chance to spend it, you are much less likely to touch it. You begin adjusting your lifestyle around what remains instead of constantly depending on willpower. It is also useful to separate your money by purpose. One account can be for daily expenses, another for emergencies, and another for long-term investing. This makes your progress easier to see. When all your money is sitting in one account, it is easy to feel like you have more available to spend than you really do. Separate accounts create clear boundaries. Paying yourself first also protects you from lifestyle inflation. When people start earning more, they often immediately start spending more. A higher salary becomes a more expensive apartment, better clothes, more eating out, and a newer car. Soon, they are earning much more but saving almost nothing. If you increase your savings whenever your income increases, you can avoid this trap. Suppose your salary increases by $500 per month. Instead of spending the entire extra amount, you could automatically save $300 and use the remaining $200 to improve your lifestyle. You still enjoy the benefit of earning more, but your financial future becomes stronger at the same time. This is one of the easiest ways to build wealth without feeling like you are sacrificing everything. Another important part of this habit is understanding what you are really paying for. When you save money, you are not simply putting numbers into an account. You are buying future freedom. You are buying protection from emergencies, the ability to leave a bad job, the ability to handle unexpected bills, and the possibility of retiring with less financial stress. Think of every amount you save as a small piece of your future independence. $100 may not look impressive today, but repeated every month for years, it becomes something powerful. Consistency matters far more than trying to make one perfect financial decision. You should also avoid constantly taking money back out of your savings for things that are not emergencies. If you move money into savings and then use it a week later for shopping or entertainment, you are not really paying yourself first. You are only temporarily hiding the money. Create a clear rule about what your savings are for, and do your best not to touch them unless the purpose truly requires it. Over time, this habit changes the way you think about money. You stop asking, "How much can I spend this month?" and start asking, "How much can I keep?" That small change in thinking is powerful. People who build quiet wealth Understand that earning money is only the first step. Keeping part of what you earn is what allows wealth to grow. You do not need to show anyone your savings account. You do not need to talk about how much you invest or how disciplined you are with money. Let other people spend everything they earn if they choose. Your job is to quietly build your own financial security month after month. A stronger financial future is usually not created by one lucky moment. It is created by a simple habit repeated hundreds of times. Get paid, save first, then live on the rest. Do it when your income is small, and continue doing it when your income becomes larger. The more consistently you pay your future self, the less dependent your future becomes on your next paycheck. 6. Keep your lifestyle smaller than your income. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to become wealthy is not because they earn too little. It is because every time they earn more, they immediately find new ways to spend more. Their salary increases, but so do their expenses. They move into a more expensive home, buy a better car, eat at more expensive restaurants, upgrade their phone more often, and start buying things they never needed before. After some time, they are earning much more money, but they still feel like they have nothing left at the end of the month. This is called lifestyle inflation. It happens when your lifestyle grows at the same speed as your income. At first, it may feel like success because you can afford nicer things. But if every increase in income creates an equal increase in spending, your financial situation may not actually improve. You may look richer from the outside while remaining financially weak on the inside. A better habit is to keep your lifestyle smaller than your income. This means creating a healthy gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap is where wealth begins. The larger the gap becomes, the more money you have available for savings, investments, emergencies, and future opportunities. For example, imagine you earn $3,000 per month and spend almost all of it. Then you receive a raise and begin earning $3,500. Many people would immediately find a way to spend the extra $500. They may upgrade their car payment, start eating out more often, buy more clothes, or increase their entertainment spending. Soon, the extra income disappears, and they are back in the same position. A smarter approach would be to keep most of that extra money. You could allow yourself to enjoy a small part of the raise while saving or investing the rest. Maybe you increase your lifestyle by $100 and save the other $400. You still get to enjoy some improvement, but your financial progress becomes much faster. This does not mean you should never improve your lifestyle. Money is meant to make life better, and there is nothing wrong with enjoying what you earn. The problem begins when every financial improvement becomes a reason to create a new monthly expense. The goal is to enjoy your money without allowing your lifestyle to consume everything you make. Monthly expenses are especially important because they can quietly trap you. Buying something once may not be a major problem, but adding another monthly payment can affect you for years. A more expensive car, apartment, subscription, loan, or membership may seem affordable by itself, but several new monthly expenses can quickly remove your financial freedom. Before increasing your lifestyle, ask yourself whether the new expense will truly improve your life. Do you really need a larger home, or do you simply want to impress people? Do you need a new car, or does your current car still work well? Do you need another subscription, or are you already paying for services you rarely use? These questions help you separate real improvement from unnecessary lifestyle pressure. Another reason lifestyle inflation is dangerous is that it can make you dependent on your current income. If your monthly expenses are extremely high, losing your job or experiencing a drop in income can become very stressful. You may have a high salary, but if almost all of it is already committed to bills, loans, and lifestyle costs, you have very little flexibility. Someone with lower monthly expenses often has more freedom than someone earning much more but spending everything. If your lifestyle is simple and your savings are strong, you can survive difficult periods more easily. You may be able to change jobs, start a business, take time off, or handle unexpected problems without immediately falling into debt. This is why quiet wealth often looks very ordinary. A financially strong person may continue driving the same reliable car after receiving a raise. They may stay in the same home even when they could afford something bigger. They may wear simple clothes, cook at home, and avoid unnecessary debt. From the outside, nothing looks dramatic, but behind the scenes, their savings and investments may be growing every month. The important thing is to avoid comparing your lifestyle with other people. Social media can make this difficult because you constantly see expensive cars, vacations, watches, houses, and restaurants. But you rarely see the debt, stress, or financial pressure behind those images. Someone can look extremely successful while having almost no savings. Trying to match another person's lifestyle can destroy your own financial plan. You do not know their income, debt, family situation, or financial support. Their choices have nothing to do with what is best for you. Keep your attention on your own numbers and your own goals. A useful rule is to increase your savings whenever your income increases. If you receive a bonus, raise, or extra income, decide in advance how much you will keep. You can still use some of the money to enjoy yourself, but make sure a meaningful part goes toward your future. This prevents your spending from automatically expanding every time your income grows. You can also review your lifestyle once or twice a year. Look at your monthly expenses and ask which ones still matter. Maybe you are paying for memberships you no longer use, services you forgot about, or conveniences that no longer feel worth the cost. Removing even a few unnecessary expenses can create more room for saving and investing. Living below your means is not the same as living poorly. It simply means you do not spend everything you are capable of spending. You may be able to afford a $50,000 car, but choosing a reliable $25,000 car may leave more money for investments. You may be able to rent a larger apartment, but staying somewhere comfortable and affordable may give you more financial peace. The strongest position is when your income grows faster than your lifestyle. If your salary doubles, but your expenses increase only a little, your ability to build wealth becomes much stronger. More of your money can begin working for you instead of disappearing through consumption. Think of income as water flowing into a bucket. If your lifestyle keeps creating larger holes in the bucket, earning more water will not solve the problem. You need to control the leaks. Once you do that, every increase in income becomes much more powerful. This habit also changes the meaning of success. Instead of measuring success by what you can buy, you begin measuring it by how much freedom you have. Can you handle an emergency without panic? Can you take a break from work if necessary? Can you say no to a bad opportunity because you are not desperate for money? Can you make choices based on what is best for your life, rather than what your monthly bills force you to do? That is the real value of keeping your lifestyle smaller than your income. It gives you space. It gives you choices. It gives you the ability to build wealth without constantly feeling pressure to earn more just to maintain everything you own. You do not have to look richer every year. You can simply become richer every year. Let your income rise quietly while your expenses remain controlled. Save the difference, invest the difference, and allow that gap to grow. Over time, the lifestyle you did not upgrade may become the financial freedom you always wanted. 7. Keep your possessions simple. One of the most useful Japanese-inspired money habits is learning to keep your possessions simple. Many people believe that having more things means they are doing better in life. A larger house, more clothes, newer electronics, more furniture, more decorations, and more expensive belongings can make someone feel successful for a short time. But every new possession also brings a cost. You pay for it when you buy it, and many times you continue paying for it through maintenance, storage, repairs, upgrades, insurance, cleaning, and replacement. This is why owning more does not always make you richer. Sometimes it does the opposite. The more things you collect, the more money you need to maintain the lifestyle around those things. A simple lifestyle can give you something much more valuable than a crowded home or an expensive image. It can give you financial breathing room. Japanese minimalism is often connected with the idea of keeping only what is useful, meaningful, or truly necessary. You do not need to remove everything from your life or live in an empty room. The goal is simply to become more careful about what you bring into your home and what you spend your money on. Instead of asking, "Can I afford this?" ask, "Will this actually improve my life enough to deserve my money and space?" That question can completely change the way you shop. Imagine walking into a store and seeing something attractive. Maybe it is a new kitchen appliance, another jacket, a decorative item, or a new piece of technology. Your first thought may be that you want it, but instead of immediately buying it, think about your home. Where will you put it? How often will you use it? Do you already own something that does the same job? Will you still care about it in 6 months? If you cannot answer these questions clearly, you may not need the item. Many people spend money because buying something creates a temporary feeling of excitement. The problem is that the excitement often disappears quickly, but the object remains. It sits in a drawer, closet, garage, or storage room. Over time, the home fills with things that once felt important but are now barely noticed. Look around your home and think about how many things you own that you rarely use. Clothes that have not been worn for years, kitchen tools that were used once, old electronics, decorative objects, extra furniture, books you never opened, and subscriptions connected to devices or services you barely remember buying. Each one represents money that left your hands. This is why keeping possessions simple is not only about organization, it is a financial habit. Every unnecessary object you decide not to buy is money that stays with you. If you avoid spending $30 here, $50 there, and $100 somewhere else, those small decisions begin to add up. Over 1 year, you may save hundreds or even thousands of dollars simply because you stopped bringing unnecessary things into your life. The habit becomes even more powerful when you think about larger purchases. A bigger house, for example, does not only cost more when you buy or rent it. A larger home can mean higher utility bills, more furniture, more cleaning, more repairs, more property expenses, and more time spent maintaining everything. Sometimes people upgrade their homes because they want more space, but then they fill that extra space with more possessions. A more expensive car works the same way. The price of the car is only the beginning. You may also pay higher insurance, more expensive repairs, larger loan payments, more expensive tires, and sometimes higher fuel costs. A car that looks impressive can quietly become a large monthly financial burden. This is an important lesson. Every possession has a hidden second price. The first price is what you pay to get it. The second price is what it costs you to keep it. This idea can help you make much smarter decisions. Before buying something expensive, do not look only at the purchase price. Think about what it will cost over the next few years. If you buy a new device, will you need accessories? If you buy a bigger house, will you need more furniture? If you buy a luxury car, how much will maintenance and insurance cost? If you buy more clothes, will you need more storage? These hidden costs can make an affordable purchase much more expensive than it first appears. Keeping your possessions simple also makes it easier to appreciate what you already have. When you own too many things, individual items lose their value in your mind. A closet full of clothes can make you feel like you have nothing to wear because there are too many choices. A shelf full of gadgets can make each one feel less special. A home filled with unnecessary objects can create visual and mental clutter. When you own fewer things, you often use them more. You know what you have. You take better care of it. You repair it when possible. You appreciate it longer. And because you are not constantly replacing or adding things, you naturally spend less money. A simple lifestyle can also protect you from comparison. Many unnecessary purchases happen because people see what others have. A friend buys a new phone, so you suddenly start noticing the age of yours. Someone gets a new car, and your perfectly reliable car begins to feel old. You see a beautiful home online, and your own home suddenly feels too small. Nothing actually changed about your possessions. Your comparison changed. This is one of the most expensive habits in modern life. When you constantly compare what you own with what other people own, there is always something better to buy. There will always be a newer phone, a more expensive watch, a larger home, better furniture, and more fashionable clothing. If you allow comparison to control your spending, you will never feel like you have enough. A simpler approach is to judge your possessions by usefulness instead of status. Does your car safely take you where you need to go? Does your phone perform the tasks you need? Do your clothes fit and serve their purpose? Does your home give you a comfortable place to live? If the answer is yes, then you may already have enough. This does not mean you can never upgrade anything. Sometimes replacing an old item is a smart decision. A more reliable car may save money on repairs. A better computer may help you work more efficiently. High-quality furniture may last much longer than cheap furniture. The key is that the upgrade should have a clear reason. Do not upgrade because you are bored. Do not upgrade because someone else did. Do not upgrade because advertising made you feel behind. Upgrade when the new item provides enough real value to justify the cost. You can also create a simple rule before buying new possessions. For example, you can use a one-in, one-out rule. If you buy a new jacket, remove an old jacket you no longer use. If you buy a new kitchen tool, get rid of one that is unnecessary. This keeps your home from slowly becoming filled with more and more things. Another useful rule is to create a waiting list for non-essential purchases. Instead of buying something immediately, write it down and wait 30 days. After 30 days, look at the list again. You may discover that many of the things you wanted no longer seem important. This allows temporary desire to disappear before it becomes permanent clutter. You should also be careful with buying things just because they are cheap. A low price can make an unnecessary purchase feel harmless. You see something for $10 and think, it is only $10, but if you make that decision 10 times, you have spent $100. If you repeat it every month, you have spent $1,200 in a year. The question should not be, is this cheap? The better question is, do I actually need this? Something you do not need is expensive even when it is discounted. This is especially important during sales. Stores often encourage people to believe they are saving money because an item is 30 or 50% off. But if you never plan to buy it, you are not really saving money. You are still spending money. A simple lifestyle also makes moving, cleaning, and organizing easier. Every object requires some amount of attention. It needs to be stored, cleaned, moved, protected, or eventually thrown away. When you own fewer things, you have fewer things demanding your time and energy. This matters because wealth is not only about money, time is also valuable. Imagine spending 1 hour every week cleaning, organizing, or managing things you do not really need. Over a year, that becomes more than 50 hours. Over 10 years, it becomes hundreds of hours. Your possessions are not only taking space in your home, they can also take space in your schedule. When you begin simplifying your possessions, you may also notice that your spending becomes more intentional. You stop shopping for entertainment. You stop browsing online stores when you are bored. You stop buying random things simply because they are available. This creates a powerful change in your relationship with money. Instead of asking what you can buy next, You begin asking what you can build next. Can this money increase my emergency fund? Can I invest it? Can I pay down debt? Can I use it for education? Can I save it for a meaningful experience? Can I use it to create more freedom in my life? These questions move your attention away from consumption and toward financial growth. Another useful part of Japanese minimalism is respecting space. When space is limited, people must think carefully about what deserves to occupy it. You can apply the same idea even if you live in a large home. Treat your space as valuable. Every object that enters your home should have a purpose. Think of your home like your bank account. If you allow unnecessary things to fill every corner, you lose control. In the same way, if unnecessary expenses fill your budget, you lose financial flexibility. Simple possessions create simple expenses. Simple expenses create more room to save. And more savings can create more freedom. You can begin by looking at one area of your life, maybe your closet. Remove the clothes you never wear and notice what remains. You may realize that you regularly use only a small percentage of what you own. Then look at your kitchen, electronics, furniture, or subscriptions. The goal is not to throw everything away. The goal is to understand what you actually use. This exercise can teach you something important about future purchases. Once you see how many past purchases became unnecessary, you become more careful about buying new things. You can also sell items you no longer use. This gives unused possessions a second life while returning some money to you. You could put that money into savings or investments instead of immediately spending it again. Even small amounts can become meaningful when they are used wisely. For example, imagine you sell old electronics, clothing, furniture, and other unused items and receive $500. If you spend that $500 on more random things, nothing changes. But if you place it into an emergency fund or investment account, your old clutter has now been turned into financial progress. That is a much better use of what you already own. Another important habit is learning to take care of your possessions. When you maintain something properly, it lasts longer. Clean your shoes, service your car, protect your electronics, store your clothes correctly, and repair small problems before they become larger ones. Taking care of what you have reduces the need for replacement. A person who treats everything as disposable will constantly spend money replacing things. A person who respects and maintains what they own can use the same items for years. This is where simplicity and the Japanese idea of motonai work together. Both teach you to respect resources instead of treating them as endless. You should also think carefully about collections. People can easily begin collecting watches, shoes, technology, decorations, or other items because each individual purchase feels small. Over time, the collection can represent thousands of dollars. Ask yourself whether the collection genuinely gives you long-term happiness or whether the excitement mostly comes from buying the next item. If the joy disappears soon after every purchase, the habit may be more about shopping than the objects themselves. This does not mean you must remove every hobby from your life. Hobbies are important, and money should be used for enjoyment too. The goal is balance. Give yourself a reasonable amount to spend on things you enjoy without allowing the hobby to damage your larger financial goals. Simple living is not punishment. It is clarity. You decide what deserves your money and what does not. You choose what deserves space in your home and what does not. You stop allowing advertising, trends, or other people's lifestyles to make those decisions for you. This can also make expensive purchases feel more meaningful. If you rarely buy unnecessary things, you can sometimes afford to spend more on something that truly matters. Instead of buying 10 cheap items you barely use, you can buy one quality item you love and use for years. That is a very different kind of spending. It is intentional instead of automatic. You may also find that a simpler lifestyle reduces stress. Financial stress often comes from having too many bills and too many responsibilities. Every monthly payment becomes something you must earn money to support. The more financial obligations you create, the harder it becomes to slow down. Imagine two people earning the same income. One has a large car payment, expensive rent, many subscriptions, credit card debt, and constant shopping expenses. The other has a reliable car, affordable housing, fewer possessions, and lower monthly costs. Their salaries may be identical, but their level of freedom is completely different. The second person needs less money just to keep life running. That gives them more room to save, invest, change jobs, travel, or handle an emergency. This is why keeping possessions simple can become a form of financial power. You need less to maintain your life. You keep more of what you earn. You have fewer financial commitments, and you become less dependent on constantly increasing your income. As your income grows, resist the idea that your possessions must grow with it. You do not need a bigger house just because you can afford one. You do not need a new car because your salary increased. You do not need expensive furniture because you received a promotion. Sometimes the smartest response to earning more money is changing almost nothing. Keep living comfortably. Keep using what works. Save and invest the difference. This is how wealth can grow quietly. From the outside, people may not notice much change. But inside your financial life, everything is changing. Your emergency fund is growing. Your investments are increasing. Your debt is shrinking. And your dependence on each paycheck is becoming smaller. That is a much stronger form of progress than simply filling your home with more expensive things. There is also an emotional side to this habit. Many people use shopping to change how they feel. They shop when they are bored, stressed, lonely, or frustrated. Buying something gives them a short burst of excitement. But when that feeling disappears, they need another purchase to recreate it. This cycle can become expensive. Learning to notice why you want to buy something can help you break it. Before making an unnecessary purchase, ask yourself what you are feeling. Are you buying because you need the object, or because you want the emotion that comes with buying it? Sometimes, the best financial decision is to do something else. Take a walk, exercise, read, call someone, work on a project, or simply wait until the emotion passes. You do not have to solve every uncomfortable feeling with your wallet. Keeping possessions simple can also teach children and family members healthier money habits. When a household constantly buys new things, children may learn that happiness comes from consumption. But when they see people taking care of what they own, saving money, repairing things and buying carefully, they learn a different lesson. They learn that money is a resource, not a toy. They learn that wanting something does not always mean buying it. They learn that patience and responsibility matter. These lessons can be more valuable than simply giving them expensive things. You can make this habit easier by creating clear rules for yourself. Decide that you will not replace electronics until they stop serving your needs. Decide how many clothes you realistically need. Set a monthly spending limit for non-essential purchases. Cancel subscriptions you do not use. Avoid storing things simply because you might need them someday. The goal is not perfection. You will still buy unnecessary things sometimes. Everyone does. The important thing is becoming more aware. Every time you pause before buying, you strengthen the habit. Every time you choose to use what you already own, you strengthen the habit. Every time you repair instead of replace, you strengthen the habit. Every time you walk away from something that would only become clutter, you keep more of your money. Over many years, these decisions can create a large financial difference. Imagine spending $300 less every month because you buy fewer unnecessary possessions. That is $3,600 per year. Over 10 years, that is $36,000 before considering any investment growth. What looked like small shopping decisions can become tens of thousands of dollars. This is why simple habits matter so much. Wealth is often built in places that do not look exciting. It is built when you keep the phone another year. It is built when you do not replace furniture that still works. It is built when you avoid buying clothing you do not need. It is built when you choose a smaller home that still gives you everything you require. It is built when you stop purchasing things simply to create an image. You do not become wealthy only through the money you make. You also become wealthy through the money you decide not to waste. The purpose of this habit is not to make your life smaller. It is to remove things that do not matter, so you have more resources for the things that do. Maybe that means investing more. Maybe it means traveling. Maybe it means working fewer hours someday. Maybe it means helping your family. Maybe it means starting a business. Maybe it simply means sleeping better because you know you have enough money saved. Whatever financial freedom means to you, unnecessary possessions can quietly delay it. So before you bring something new into your life, pause and ask whether it deserves your money, your space, and your attention. Choose useful things. Choose quality when it matters. Take care of what you already own. Let go of what you no longer use. Stop measuring your success by how much stuff surrounds you. A simple home does not mean a poor life. A smaller collection does not mean you are unsuccessful. Using an older phone does not mean you are falling behind. Driving a reliable car does not mean you cannot afford more. Sometimes the person with fewer possessions has more money, more peace, and more freedom than the person surrounded by expensive things. That is the lesson behind keeping your possessions simple. Own what serves you, respect what you have, and stop allowing unnecessary things to consume the money that could be building your future. 8. Build an emergency fund before trying to look successful. One of the smartest money habits you can build is creating an emergency fund before spending heavily on things that only make you look successful. Many people focus on appearance first. They want the better phone, nicer car, expensive clothes, beautiful apartment, and luxury experiences because these things make them feel like they are moving forward. But if one unexpected bill can destroy your entire month, then the lifestyle may look strong while the finances underneath it are still weak. An emergency fund is money that you keep only for unexpected and important problems. It is not vacation money, shopping money, or money for a new phone. It is financial protection. If your car suddenly breaks down, you lose your job, you need urgent home repairs, or an important family expense appears, this money gives you something extremely valuable. Time to think without panic. Without an emergency fund, even a small problem can quickly turn into debt. Imagine that your car needs a $700 repair and you have almost nothing saved. You may have to use a credit card, borrow from someone, delay another important bill, or take money from a future paycheck. Now the original problem has created another problem. You are not only dealing with the repair, you are also dealing with debt and financial pressure. This is why emergency savings should come before trying to impress other people. A person may drive an expensive car and wear expensive clothes, but if they cannot handle a sudden $1,000 expense without borrowing money, they are not as financially secure as they appear. Another person may drive an older car, dress simply, and live in a modest home, but have several months of expenses saved. The second person may look less successful, but financially they may be much stronger. Quiet wealth is often invisible. You cannot see someone's emergency fund when they walk into a room. You cannot see how many months they could survive without a paycheck. You cannot see that they have enough cash to handle a broken appliance without stress. But these invisible things create real financial strength. The first step is deciding how much you need. You do not have to build a huge emergency fund immediately. Start small. Your first goal could be $500 or $1,000, depending on your situation. This gives you a basic safety cushion for smaller emergencies. Once you reach that amount, Begin building toward 1 month of essential expenses. Essential expenses include things you truly need to keep your life running. This may include rent or mortgage payments, basic food, electricity, transportation, insurance, important medications, and minimum debt payments. It does not usually include expensive entertainment, unnecessary shopping, or luxury spending. For example, imagine your essential expenses are $1,900 per month. Your first larger goal may be to save $1,800. Once you reach that, you can work toward 3 months, which would be $5,400. Over time, you may want to build 3 to 6 months of essential expenses, depending on your job stability, family responsibilities, and financial situation. Do not become discouraged if this sounds like a large amount. You do not have to save it all at once. Emergency funds are built slowly, just like most wealth. Saving $50, $100, or $200 every month may not feel exciting, but after a year, the difference can be significant. Suppose you save $150 per month. After 12 months, you have $1,800. That could be enough to cover a major repair, an unexpected bill, or 1 month of essential expenses. If you continue, your financial safety gets stronger every month. The important thing is consistency. You can make this easier by treating your emergency fund like a bill you owe yourself. When your income arrives, move part of it into a separate savings account before spending on unnecessary things. Even a small automatic transfer can help. When the saving happens automatically, you do not have to make the decision again every month. Keeping the emergency fund separate from your daily spending money is also important. If it sits in the same account you use for shopping, you may slowly spend it without realizing it. A separate account creates distance and makes it clear that this money has a different purpose. You should also create clear rules about what counts as an emergency. This prevents you from using the fund every time you want something. A real emergency is usually unexpected, necessary, and important. A broken heating system in winter may be an emergency. A sudden medical expense may be an emergency. A major car repair that you need for work may be an emergency. Losing your income may be an emergency. But a sale on a new television is not an emergency. A vacation is not an emergency. New shoes because you are bored with your old ones are not an emergency. The latest phone is not an emergency if your current phone still works. This difference matters because the emergency fund only protects you if you protect the emergency fund. Many people also make the mistake of waiting until their income becomes higher before they start saving. They tell themselves, "When I earn more, then I will build an emergency fund." But when income increases, spending often increases too. There may never be a perfect time. It is better to start with whatever amount is possible today. Even $20 per week creates progress. The habit matters first. The amount can grow later. Another useful strategy is using unexpected income to strengthen your emergency savings. If you receive a bonus, tax refund, gift, freelance payment, or extra income, consider putting part of it into your emergency fund before spending it. You do not have to save every extra dollar, but saving a large percentage can help you reach your goal much faster. For example, imagine you receive a $1,000 bonus. Instead of spending all of it, you might put $700 into your emergency fund and enjoy the remaining $300. You still reward yourself, but you also become financially stronger. The emotional value of an emergency fund is just as important as the financial value. Money stress often comes from uncertainty. When you know that even a small, unexpected problem could cause disaster, your mind stays under pressure. You may worry about your car making a strange sound. You may worry about losing work. You may worry about a surprise bill. You may worry every time something breaks. An emergency fund reduces this fear because you know you have a backup plan. You may still dislike the unexpected expense, but you do not have to panic. That difference is powerful. Imagine two people who suddenly lose their jobs. The first person has almost no savings and large monthly expenses. From the first day, they may feel desperate. They have rent, bills, food, and debt payments waiting. They may have to accept the first job available, even if it is a bad fit, because they need money immediately. The second person has several months of essential expenses saved. They are still concerned, but they have breathing room. They can search carefully for the right opportunity, update their skills, make better decisions, and avoid rushing into something out of fear. The emergency fund did not remove the problem, it changed the person's ability to respond to the problem. This is one of the biggest benefits of financial security. Money gives you options, it gives you time, it gives you the ability to say no, it gives you the ability to think clearly. This is why emergency savings can be more valuable than many luxury purchases. A luxury watch may make you feel successful for a while. A strong emergency fund may protect you for years. A new car may impress people. Cash savings may protect you if your income disappears. Designer clothing may change how people see you. Financial reserves can change how confidently you live. This does not mean you should never enjoy expensive things. The lesson is about order. Build protection first. Enjoy more later. A strong house needs a foundation before decoration. Your financial life works the same way. The emergency fund is part of that foundation. Another mistake people make is depending completely on credit cards for emergencies. They believe they do not need cash because they can always borrow money if something goes wrong. The problem is that borrowing turns an emergency into a future payment. If you use a credit card for a large unexpected bill and cannot pay it off quickly, interest may increase the cost. A $1,000 emergency can slowly become much more expensive. An emergency fund allows you to use your own money instead of borrowing someone else's money. That keeps your future income free. Think about debt this way. When you borrow money today, part of your future paycheck already belongs to the past. Emergency savings helps prevent more of your future income from being trapped by old problems. This is especially important if you already have debt. You may wonder whether you should save or pay debt first. In many situations, building a small starter emergency fund before aggressively paying down debt can be useful because it prevents every unexpected expense from sending you back into borrowing. After creating that small cushion, you can focus more heavily on your debt while continuing to protect yourself. The exact amount depends on your situation, but the principle remains the same. Do not leave yourself completely unprotected. Your job situation should also influence the size of your emergency fund. If your income is very stable and you have low expenses, you may feel comfortable with a smaller reserve. If your income changes from month to month, you are self-employed, you support a family, or your job is uncertain, a larger emergency fund may give you more protection. For someone with irregular income, emergency savings can be especially important. Some months may be very good, and others may be slow. Instead of treating every strong month as permission to spend more, use part of the extra income to prepare for weaker months. This creates financial stability even when your income is not stable. You should also rebuild your emergency fund after using it. If you saved $5,000 and then had to spend $1,500 on a real emergency, you now have $3,500. The fund did exactly what it was supposed to do. Do not feel like you failed because the balance dropped. That money protected you. Now begin rebuilding it. Think of an emergency fund like a protective wall. Sometimes life damages part of the wall. Your next job is simply to repair it. Do not avoid using emergency money during a true emergency because you are afraid to see the balance fall. That is what the money is there for. The goal is not to keep the number untouched forever. The goal is to prevent unexpected problems from damaging the rest of your financial life. Another benefit of an emergency fund is that it can help you avoid depending on other people. Without savings, a sudden problem may force you to ask family or friends for money. Sometimes there is nothing wrong with receiving help, but constantly needing financial rescue can create stress in relationships. Having your own emergency savings gives you greater independence. You know that if something happens, you have at least some ability to handle it yourself. That confidence can change how you feel about money. Emergency savings can also protect your investments. Imagine that you invest all your extra money but keep no cash reserve. Then an emergency happens. You may be forced to sell investments at a bad time because you need money immediately. If the market is down, this can be especially painful. A separate emergency fund gives your long-term investments more time to stay invested. You do not have to interrupt your long-term plan every time life becomes difficult. This is another reason why building a cash cushion before aggressively investing can make sense for many people. There is also a powerful psychological benefit to seeing your emergency fund grow. At first, $100 may not feel like much. Then it becomes $500, then $1,000, then 1 month of expenses. Eventually, you may have several months saved. Every milestone increases your confidence. You begin to realize that you can control your money. You are no longer living completely from one paycheck to the next. You are creating distance between yourself and financial disaster. That distance is freedom. A useful way to stay motivated is to stop thinking of the emergency fund as money that is doing nothing. Some people dislike holding cash because it does not feel exciting. They would rather invest everything or spend it on something visible. But the emergency fund has a job. Its job is protection. Insurance also feels like money that does nothing until the day you need it. Emergency savings works in a similar way. Its value comes from being available when life becomes unpredictable. You can also think about your emergency fund in terms of time instead of money. If you have 1 month of expenses saved, you have bought yourself 1 month of financial breathing room. 3 months saved means 3 months. 6 months means 6 months. You are not simply collecting money, you are buying time. This can completely change how you see saving. Time can allow you to recover from job loss. Time can allow you to make a career change. Time can help you recover from a family problem. Time can allow you to find a better solution instead of choosing the fastest solution. This is real financial power. Building an emergency fund also requires controlling lifestyle pressure. There may be moments when people around you are upgrading their lives while you are quietly saving. Someone buys a new car. Someone travels somewhere expensive. Someone purchases the newest phone. You may feel like you are falling behind because your money is sitting in a savings account where nobody can see it. But remember what you are building. They may be buying visible comfort. You are buying invisible security. You do not know their financial situation, and they do not need to understand yours. Quiet wealth often requires being comfortable with looking ordinary while becoming financially strong. This is difficult because modern culture rewards visible spending. People notice the car, the clothes, the house, and the vacation. Nobody congratulates you for having 6 months of expenses saved, but your financial decisions should not depend on applause. A strong financial life is built for you, not for an audience. If you need a simple way to start, calculate your essential monthly expenses today. Write down your housing, food, transportation, utilities, insurance, and other important costs. Add them together. That number is your basic monthly survival cost. Then choose your first target. Maybe your first target is $1,000. Then 1 month of expenses. Then 3 months. Then perhaps 6 months. Break the goal into smaller pieces. If your 3-month goal is $6,000, do not constantly stare at $6,000 and feel overwhelmed. Focus on the next $500. Then the next $500. Large financial goals become easier when you turn them into smaller steps. You can also reduce unnecessary expenses temporarily while building the fund. Maybe you eat out less for a few months, pause unnecessary subscriptions, delay an upgrade, or sell things you no longer use. The goal is not to live this way forever. You are creating a foundation. Once the foundation becomes strong, you have more flexibility. Another helpful method is to create a separate name for the account. Instead of calling it savings, call it emergency fund or financial safety. This small psychological change can make you less likely to use the money for random purchases. When you see the name, you remember its purpose. You can also set up automatic transfers on payday. Even if the amount is small, consistency matters more than motivation. You should not have to decide every month whether your future deserves money. Make the decision once and automate it. This is similar to the idea of paying yourself first. Your emergency fund should receive money before lifestyle spending takes over. It is also important to understand that emergencies are different from expected expenses. If you know your car insurance is due every 6 months, that is not an emergency. If you know your annual property bill is coming, that is not an emergency either. Expected expenses should have their own savings plan. The emergency fund should be reserved for things you did not reasonably expect. This helps prevent the fund from constantly disappearing. You may want to create smaller savings categories for predictable expenses. One for car maintenance, one for travel, one for annual bills, and one for home repairs. Then your true emergency savings can remain protected for bigger surprises. This level of organization may sound boring, but boring money habits often create exciting freedom later. When you are financially prepared, life feels different. A broken phone becomes inconvenient instead of disastrous. A car repair becomes frustrating instead of terrifying. A job loss becomes serious but manageable. An unexpected bill becomes something you can solve. That peace is worth more than many things people buy to appear successful. As your emergency savings grows, do not use that progress as an excuse to suddenly increase your spending. Some people reach a savings goal and immediately reward themselves by spending a large part of it. Celebrate your progress, but protect what you built. Your emergency fund is not a prize fund, it is your financial shield. Once the fund is fully built, you can redirect the amount you were saving each month toward other goals. You may invest more, pay off debt faster, save for a home, start a business, or build another financial goal. This is where emergency savings becomes even more powerful. Once you have a strong safety net, you can take smarter risks. Starting a business feels different when you have money saved. Changing careers feels different. Moving to a new city feels different. Taking time to learn a new skill feels different. You are not making every decision with a financial knife against your throat. You have room, and room creates better decisions. This is why you should not think of emergency savings as fear-based money. It is freedom-based money. You are not saving because you expect disaster every day. You are saving because you understand that life is unpredictable and you want to remain strong when something unexpected happens. The habit is simple. Protect yourself before you impress anyone. Build cash before luxury. Build security before status. Build stability before upgrades. You may not receive compliments for this decision. Nobody will see your savings account when you walk outside. But when life suddenly becomes expensive, you will understand exactly why you built it. A person who looks successful but has no financial cushion is always one unexpected problem away from stress. A person with simple possessions, controlled expenses, and a strong emergency fund may be much closer to real wealth. Remember, wealth is not only the ability to buy something. Wealth is also the ability to handle problems without destroying your future. It is the ability to sleep without worrying about the next surprise bill. It is the ability to make decisions from strength instead of desperation. It is knowing that if life changes tomorrow, you have given yourself some time to respond. So before you buy something simply because you want to look more successful, ask yourself a different question. If something went wrong next month, would I wish I had kept this money? That question can save you from many unnecessary purchases. Build your emergency fund quietly. Add to it every month. Protect it from unnecessary spending. Rebuild it whenever you use it. Let other people focus on looking wealthy if they want. Your goal is different. Your goal is to become financially difficult to break. 9. Invest quietly and think in decades. One of the most powerful habits for building wealth is learning to think in years and decades instead of days and weeks. Many people want fast results. They want to double their money quickly, find the next big investment, or discover one opportunity that changes everything overnight. The problem is that chasing fast money often creates emotional decisions, unnecessary risk, and disappointment. Quiet wealth is usually built in a much slower and more boring way. You invest regularly, stay patient, avoid unnecessary excitement, and give your money enough time to grow. This mindset is closely connected with long-term discipline. Instead of asking, "How much money can I make this month?" ask, "Where could I be financially 10 or 20 years from now if I stay consistent?" That one change in thinking can completely change your behavior. You stop looking for shortcuts and begin building a system. The first thing to understand is that investing is different from simply saving. Saving is usually about protecting money for short-term needs, emergencies, and upcoming expenses. Investing is about giving money a chance to grow over a longer period of time. Both are important, but they serve different purposes. Before investing aggressively, it is wise to have some emergency savings and control over high-interest debt. This gives you a stronger foundation. If every unexpected bill forces you to sell investments or borrow money, it becomes difficult to stay consistent. Long-term investing works best when you can leave the money alone. Once that foundation is in place, the next step is to invest regularly. You do not need to wait until you have a huge amount of money. Many people delay investing because they think they need thousands of dollars before they can begin. But the habit of investing matters more than starting with a large amount. Imagine investing $100 every month. At first, it may feel small. After 1 year, you have contributed $1,200. After 5 years, your contributions have become much larger. If those investments also grow over time, the total can begin to increase faster. The important part is that you keep going. Now imagine increasing that amount as your income grows. Maybe you begin with $100 per month. Later, increase it to $200, then $300, and eventually much more. The habit that started small becomes a serious wealth-building system. This is where compounding becomes important. Compounding means your money can earn returns, and those returns may then earn additional returns in the future. Over long periods, this can become very powerful. For example, imagine you invest money and it grows. You do not remove the gains. Instead, they stay invested. The next year, you are earning returns not only on the money you originally invested, but also on some of the growth from previous years. At first, the difference may look small. This is why many people become impatient. They invest for a few months and expect dramatic results. When nothing exciting happens, they lose interest. But long-term wealth often grows slowly in the beginning and faster later. Think of planting a tree. During the first few months, there may be little to see. You water it, protect it, and continue caring for it. Years later, the tree may become large enough to provide shade and fruit. If you kept digging it up every few weeks to check whether the roots were growing, you would damage the process. Investing can work in a similar way. Constantly changing your strategy can hurt you. Jumping from one investment trend to another can hurt you. Buying because everyone is excited and selling because everyone is afraid can hurt you. The quiet investor understands that patience is part of the strategy. This does not mean you should blindly hold every investment forever. You should understand what you own, review your goals, and make changes when there is a good reason. But you should avoid changing direction every time the market becomes emotional. Markets move up and down. That is normal. There will be periods when your investments grow quickly and periods when they fall. If you expect the market to rise every month, you may panic the first time you see a decline. This is why thinking in decades is so important. A bad week can feel huge when you only think about this week. A bad month can feel terrifying when you only think about this month. But when you think about a 20-year plan, short-term movement becomes easier to understand. Your attention moves away from daily noise and back toward long-term progress. Another important habit is avoiding investments you do not understand. People often lose money because they invest based on excitement, social media, rumors, or pressure from friends. Someone tells them that a certain stock, coin, business, or opportunity is going to explode, and they invest without doing enough research. A simple rule can protect you. If you cannot clearly explain how an investment works, what the risks are, and why you own it, you may not be ready to put serious money into it. You do not need to become an expert in everything, but you should understand the basic idea. Where does the potential return come from? What could cause the investment to lose value? How long are you planning to hold it? How much could you realistically lose? Does it fit your larger financial plan? These questions may not sound exciting, but they can save you from expensive mistakes. Diversification is another important part of long-term investing. This simply means not putting all your money into one place. If all your money depends on one company, one industry, or one risky asset, one bad event can cause serious damage. Spreading your money across different investments can reduce the risk of one mistake destroying everything. This does not remove all risk. No investment is completely risk-free, but diversification can help you avoid depending too heavily on one outcome. A simple long-term investor often prefers a broad strategy rather than constantly trying to guess which single company or asset will become the next huge winner. The goal is not to be right every week. The goal is to build wealth steadily over many years. Another powerful habit is investing automatically. Just like paying yourself first, you can make investing part of your monthly routine. When your income arrives, a set amount can move automatically toward your investments. This removes emotion from the process. You do not have to ask yourself every month, should I invest this month? The decision has already been made. This is valuable because people are not always disciplined. Some months you will feel motivated. Other months you will want to spend everything. Automation helps your system continue, even when your mood changes. Consistency is often more important than excitement. Imagine two people. The first person spends hours every day watching financial news, checking prices, reading predictions, and searching for the next opportunity. They invest heavily when they feel confident and stop when they feel afraid. The second person creates a simple long-term plan, invests a fixed amount regularly, and rarely checks the market. The first person may look more active. The second person may actually be more disciplined. Activity and progress are not always the same thing. Sometimes doing less creates better results. One of the biggest mistakes investors make is buying because prices are rising and selling because prices are falling. When prices rise, people become excited. They see others making money and fear missing out. They buy at high prices because they believe the growth will continue forever. Then the market falls. Fear replaces excitement. People panic and sell. This creates a painful cycle. Buy when emotions are high, sell when emotions are low. A long-term plan can help you avoid this behavior. If you already know what you are investing in, why you are investing, and how long you plan to stay invested, you are less likely to react to every headline. You can also reduce emotional investing by checking your portfolio less often. If your plan is for the next 20 years, there may be no reason to check the value every hour. Constant checking can make normal market movement feel much more important than it really is. If your investments fall 2% today, you may feel stressed. If they rise 3% tomorrow, you may feel excited. These emotions can push you into unnecessary decisions. Sometimes the smartest move is simply to continue with your plan. Another important lesson is not comparing your investment results with other people. Someone online may claim they made a huge return in a short time. A friend may tell you they doubled their money. Another person may be investing in something much riskier than you. Their strategy may not fit your life. You also usually hear about people's wins more than their losses. Someone who makes a large profit may tell everyone. Someone who loses a large amount may remain quiet. This can create a false picture of how easy investing is. Do not build your financial plan around someone else's best story. Build it around your own goals, income, risk tolerance, and time horizon. Another powerful idea is understanding the value of starting early. Time can be one of the strongest advantages in investing because compounding needs time to work. A person who starts investing small amounts early may sometimes build more wealth than someone who starts much later with larger amounts. This is not because the first person is smarter. They simply gave their money more time. That is why waiting for the perfect time can be expensive. People say they will invest when the market feels safer. They will invest when they earn more. They will invest when they understand everything. They will invest next year. Then another year passes. You do not need perfect conditions to begin learning and building the habit. You need a reasonable plan and consistency. Long-term investing also requires realistic expectations. If you expect to become rich in a few months, you will be attracted to risky promises. If you understand that serious wealth can take decades, you are more likely to choose sustainable strategies. There will always be someone promising fast money, a new business idea, a hot investment, a secret strategy, a guaranteed return. You need to be careful with anyone who makes investing sound easy, certain, or risk-free. High returns often come with higher risk. If something sounds too good to be true, slow down and understand it before sending money. Quiet investors are not in a hurry. They know another opportunity will come. They know missing one trend will not destroy their future. They know protecting capital is important too. This is another difference between gambling and investing. Gambling often focuses on quick outcomes. Long-term investing focuses on ownership, patience, risk management, and time. The goal is not to feel excited. The goal is to become financially stronger. You should also think about fees and costs. Small fees may not look important, but over many years they can reduce your returns. When choosing investment products or platforms, understand what you are paying. Ask about management fees, transaction costs, account fees, and other charges. A fee that looks small today can become meaningful over decades. Again, the lesson is simple. Make every dollar work as efficiently as possible. Taxes can also affect investing, depending on where you live and what type of account you use. You do not need to become a tax expert, but understanding basic rules can help you make better decisions. Use legal tax-advantaged options when they are appropriate and available to you, and consider professional financial or tax advice when your situation becomes more complex. The goal is not to avoid taxes illegally. The goal is to understand the system well enough to make informed decisions. Another long-term habit is reinvesting when possible. If an investment produces income, such as dividends or other distributions, reinvesting that money can increase the power of compounding. Instead of immediately spending every small return, you allow that money to buy more assets. More assets can create more future returns. This is how the cycle becomes stronger over time. Imagine your investments as workers. At first, you only have a few workers. You add more every month. Then those workers begin producing more workers. Eventually, your money starts doing a meaningful amount of work without requiring more hours from you. That is one of the main purposes of investing. You are slowly reducing the amount of your future that depends completely on your labor. Your salary comes from your time and skills. Your investments have the potential to grow while you are working, sleeping, traveling, or spending time with family. This does not mean money grows without risk, and it does not mean returns are guaranteed. But over a long enough period, a disciplined investment strategy can become a major part of your financial future. Another important rule is not investing money you may need soon into something highly volatile. If you need money for rent next month, a home purchase next year, or an important expense in the near future, that money may need to stay somewhere safer and more accessible. Long-term investing works best with money you can leave invested through both good and bad markets. This is why separating short-term savings from long-term investments is important. Your emergency fund has one job. Your short-term savings have another job. Your long-term investments have another. When every part of your money has a clear purpose, you are less likely to make emotional mistakes. You should also review your investments from time to time, but reviewing is different from obsessing. Maybe once or twice a year, look at your strategy. Are you still investing consistently? Does your portfolio still match your goals? Has your income changed? Has your risk tolerance changed? Are your fees reasonable? Do you need to increase your monthly contribution? This kind of review is healthy because it helps you stay aligned with your plan. But checking constantly and making changes every week can create more problems than it solves. Another powerful habit is increasing your investment rate when your income rises. We talked earlier about keeping your lifestyle smaller than your income. Investing is one of the best places to send the difference. Suppose you receive a raise of $400 per month. You could immediately increase your lifestyle by $400. Or you could invest $300 and use $100 to improve your lifestyle. You still enjoy your progress, but most of the raise begins building future wealth. Imagine repeating this every time your income increases. Over 10 or 20 years, the result can be enormous. This is how ordinary income increases can become extraordinary financial progress. You should also be careful with debt when investing. Borrowing money to invest can increase both gains and losses. For most beginners, using borrowed money to chase returns can add unnecessary danger. Building wealth slowly may feel less exciting, but it can also protect you from making one mistake that takes years to recover from. Remember that the goal is not to become rich as quickly as possible. The goal is to become richer while staying financially strong. There is a difference. Fast wealth that disappears after one bad decision is not the same as stable wealth built over decades. This is why patience is so important. Patience protects you from desperation. When you believe wealth must happen quickly, every opportunity feels urgent. When you believe you have decades, you can say no. You can wait. You can research. You can ignore trends. You can let bad opportunities pass. This gives you a huge advantage. Think about how different your decisions become when you remove urgency. Someone says, "You must invest today or you will miss the opportunity." You can say no. A market suddenly rises and everyone is excited. You can stay calm. A market falls and everyone is afraid. You can review your plan instead of automatically panicking. Someone shows you a luxury lifestyle supposedly created by one investment. You can remember that financial marketing often shows the dream, not the risk. This calmness is part of quiet wealth. Another important concept is defining what you are actually investing for. Wealth itself is not a clear goal. What do you want your investments to provide? Retirement? A home? Financial independence? Education? More freedom to work less? Support for your family? The ability to start a business? When your goal is clear, patience becomes easier. You are not investing because you want to watch numbers move on a screen. You are investing because those numbers represent future choices. That makes long-term discipline more meaningful. For example, if your goal is financial independence 20 years from now, one bad market month becomes less emotionally important. Your focus stays on the larger journey. Another useful mindset is measuring progress by your behavior, not only by market returns. You cannot control what markets do this year. You can control whether you invest consistently. You can control your savings rate. You can control your fees. You can control your level of diversification. You can control whether you panic. You can control whether you keep learning. Focus on the things you can actually control. This keeps you from feeling like every market movement is a personal success or failure. There will be years when your investments perform well, even if you did nothing special. There will be years when they perform poorly, even if you made sensible decisions. That is part of investing. The goal is not to predict every movement. The goal is to survive uncertainty and continue building. This is why having a long-term plan written down can help. Write why you are investing, how much you plan to contribute, what type of strategy you intend to follow, and what would cause you to change it. Then, when markets become emotional, you can return to your plan instead of making decisions based on fear. A written plan can remind you of what you believed when your mind was calm. This is similar to Kakebo because both habits bring awareness to money. Kakebo helps you understand where money is going today. Long-term investing helps you decide where money should go for tomorrow. The two habits work together. You reduce waste. You create extra money. Then you give that extra money a long-term purpose. That is how financial systems become powerful. Another mistake is waiting until you feel rich enough to invest. Investing is not only for wealthy people. In many cases, investing is one of the tools people use to become wealthier. You may begin with a small amount. That is fine. A small amount invested consistently is better than a perfect plan that never begins. Do not feel embarrassed by a small starting balance. Every large portfolio was once smaller. The goal is simply to keep moving forward. As your knowledge grows, your strategy can become more informed. Read reliable books, learn basic financial concepts, understand risk, and avoid taking financial advice from people who only show success without explaining losses. You do not need to become obsessed with finance. You simply need enough knowledge to avoid obvious mistakes and understand the decisions you are making. Simple can be powerful. A complicated strategy is not automatically better. Sometimes people create too many investments because complexity makes them feel sophisticated. But if you cannot clearly manage or understand your portfolio, complexity can become another risk. The best investment plan is often one you can actually follow through good times and bad. Another key lesson is not using investment gains as an excuse to immediately increase your lifestyle. If your portfolio grows, that does not mean you need to sell and buy something expensive. Remember why you invested. If the money is for a long-term goal, let it continue doing its job. A growing portfolio can tempt you in the same way a higher salary can. You start thinking, I have more money now. I can afford this. Maybe you can, but every dollar you remove loses the chance to keep compounding. This does not mean never using your investments. Eventually, money is meant to serve your life, but timing matters. Do not destroy a 20-year plan for a temporary desire. Another powerful idea is increasing your patience as your wealth grows. When you have more money invested, market changes can appear larger in dollar terms. A 10% decline on a small portfolio may not feel dramatic. A 10% decline on a large portfolio can look frightening, but the percentage is the same. If your strategy has not changed, the larger number should not automatically create a different emotional reaction. This is why financial discipline must grow along with your wealth. More money requires more emotional control, not less. You can also use long-term thinking outside traditional investing. Investing in your skills, education, health, business knowledge, and ability to earn can also create future financial returns. A course that teaches you a valuable skill may increase your income for years. A tool that makes your work more productive may create more earning potential. Learning how money works may prevent costly mistakes. Not every investment appears inside a brokerage account. Some investments are made in yourself. But the same rule applies. Think about long-term value. Ask whether the money you spend today can create greater value tomorrow. That is very different from buying something simply because it feels good today. Quiet wealth is built by repeatedly moving money from short-term consumption toward long-term value. This may not impress anyone immediately. Nobody sees the investment contribution you made instead of buying a new watch. Nobody notices that you kept your old car and invested the difference. Nobody congratulates you for staying calm during a market decline, but these invisible decisions can become very visible in your financial life years later. That is why this chapter is called Invest Quietly. You do not need to tell everyone what you own. You do not need to post every investment online. You do not need to prove how financially intelligent you are. There can be value in keeping your financial life private. Privacy reduces comparison. It reduces pressure. It reduces the temptation to make decisions simply so you can talk about them. Your investment plan should serve your future, not your image. The person who constantly talks about becoming wealthy is not necessarily the person who is actually building wealth. Sometimes the strongest financial progress happens quietly. Money enters, expenses stay controlled, savings are protected. Investments are automated. Years pass. The portfolio grows. That process may look boring from the outside, but boredom can be a financial advantage. When your plan is boring, you are less likely to make emotional decisions. There is less drama, less chasing, less fear, less need to predict. You simply continue. This is what long-term thinking really means. It means accepting that building wealth may take longer than you want. It means understanding that not every year will be good. It means staying patient while other people chase faster results. It means allowing compounding enough time to become powerful. It means measuring your progress in decades, not days. Imagine where you could be financially 20 years from now if you invested consistently every month, increased your contributions when your income increased, avoided unnecessary debt, ignored most trends, and stayed patient. The exact result cannot be guaranteed, but your behavior would put you in a much stronger position than constantly starting and stopping. Your future wealth will not depend only on finding the perfect investment. It will depend on the habits surrounding the investment. How consistently you contribute, how patiently you wait, how carefully you manage risk, how well you control your emotions, how long you allow your money to work. This is why time may be one of your greatest financial assets. You can always earn another dollar. You cannot earn another year that has already passed. Use your time carefully. Start when you are ready with a sensible plan, keep learning, and allow patience to become part of your strategy. Do not try to become wealthy by next month. Build a financial life that becomes stronger every year. Invest quietly, think in decades, and let time do work that excitement never can. 10. Never use money to prove your worth. One of the most expensive mistakes a person can make is using money to prove that they are successful, important, powerful, or worthy of respect. This kind of spending can be very difficult to notice because it often looks normal from the outside. You may buy a better car, more expensive clothes, a luxury watch, a newer phone, or an impressive home, and tell yourself that you simply like nice things. Sometimes that is true, but sometimes the real reason is much deeper. You want other people to see you differently. This is where money becomes dangerous. The moment you start using it to build an image, There is no clear finish line. There will always be someone with more than you. Someone will have a newer car, a larger house, a more expensive watch, a better vacation, or a higher income. If your sense of success depends on comparison, you can keep spending forever and still feel behind. That is why real financial strength begins when you stop asking, "What will people think if they see me with this?" and start asking, "Does this purchase actually improve my life?" These are two very different questions. One is about image. The other is about value. Imagine two people who earn the same amount of money. The first person wants everyone to know that they are doing well. They upgrade their car every few years, buy expensive clothes, eat at costly restaurants, and constantly spend money on things that create a successful image. Their lifestyle looks impressive, but they save very little. The second person lives comfortably but simply. They drive a reliable car, buy good clothes without constantly chasing brands, keep their monthly expenses under control, and quietly save and invest a large part of their income. From the outside, the first person may look richer, but financially, the second person may be far stronger. This is one of the biggest lessons in quiet wealth. What people can see is not always what matters most. People can see your car. They cannot see your emergency fund. They can see your clothes. They cannot see your investment account. They can see your vacation photos. They cannot see your debt. They can see the house you live in. They cannot see whether you actually own it comfortably or struggle every month to pay for it. This is why judging financial success from appearance is dangerous. A person can look rich and still be under enormous financial pressure. Another person can look completely ordinary and have years of financial security behind them. If you want to build wealth quietly, you need to become comfortable with being underestimated. You may continue using an older phone while someone else upgrades every year. You may drive a simple car while someone else buys a luxury vehicle. You may live in a modest home while someone else moves into a much larger one. There is nothing wrong with those choices if people can truly afford them and they bring real value. The problem begins when you feel pressured to follow them just to prove that you are doing well too. Comparison is expensive because it turns other people's choices into your financial responsibilities. Someone buys something, and suddenly you feel like you need it. Someone posts a vacation, and suddenly your own life feels boring. Someone upgrades their home, and suddenly your home feels too small. Someone starts wearing expensive brands, and suddenly your clothes feel less valuable. Nothing about your life actually changed. The only thing that changed was what you saw. This is why learning to control comparison is an important money skill. You need to know what enough looks like for you. If you do not define enough for yourself, the world will keep defining it for you. Advertising will tell you that your phone is outdated. Social media will tell you that your lifestyle is too simple. Influencers will tell you that success looks like luxury. Friends may make you feel that you are falling behind, but your financial life should not be controlled by other people's expectations. A useful question is this: if nobody could see this purchase, would I still want it? If nobody ever knew what car you drove, what would you choose? If nobody saw the logo on your shirt, would you still buy it? If you could not post the vacation online, would you still want to go? If nobody knew how much your watch cost, would it still feel valuable to you? These questions can reveal whether you are buying for yourself or for an audience. There is nothing wrong with buying something beautiful, high quality, or expensive if you truly value it and can comfortably afford it. Quiet wealth is not about rejecting all luxury. The goal is simply to make sure that your spending reflects your values instead of your insecurity. The difference is intention. A person who buys an expensive watch because they genuinely appreciate craftsmanship and can easily afford it is making a very different decision from someone who buys the same watch because they want strangers to think they are successful. The object may be identical, The financial psychology is completely different. When you use money to prove your worth, every purchase becomes part of a performance. You begin spending not only to own something, but to communicate something. You want the car to say that you are successful. You want the clothing to say that you have status. You want the house to say that you have made it. The problem is that financial performances are expensive to maintain. Once people know you as the person with the newest car, you may feel pressure to keep upgrading. Once your lifestyle becomes expensive, going back to something simpler can feel like failure. Once you build your identity around what you own, every financial setback can feel personal. This is why keeping your identity separate from your possessions is so important. Your car is transportation. Your phone is a tool. Your clothes are clothing. Your home is where you live. These things may be enjoyable and meaningful, but they are not proof of your value as a human being. You are not more intelligent because your watch costs more. You are not more important because your car is newer. You are not more successful simply because your monthly expenses are higher. Financial strength should be measured by what your money allows you to do, not by what it allows you to display. Can you handle an emergency? Can you save consistently? Can you invest for your future? Can you sleep without worrying about debt? Can you leave a bad job if necessary? Can you support your family when something important happens? Can you make choices without always asking how you will pay the next bill? These are much stronger signs of wealth. Another danger of status spending is that it often creates monthly obligations. A luxury purchase may not only cost money once, it may create years of payments. A more expensive car may mean a larger loan payment. A larger home may mean higher rent or mortgage costs. Premium memberships may become monthly subscriptions. Expensive habits can become permanent expectations. One purchase can change your entire monthly budget. This is why you should think beyond the first payment. Before making a large purchase, ask yourself how it changes your financial life for the next few years. Will it increase your fixed expenses? Will it reduce how much you can save? Will it make you more dependent on your current job? Will it delay another important goal? Will you still enjoy it after the excitement disappears? These questions can prevent you from buying a lifestyle that looks impressive but feels like a financial prison. There is also a hidden emotional cost to trying to look wealthy. When your lifestyle is built around other people's opinions, you can never fully relax. You may constantly wonder whether your car looks good enough, whether your clothes are fashionable enough, whether your home is impressive enough, or whether your vacation is exciting enough. That pressure can make you spend money even when you do not want to. You are no longer controlling your money. The audience is, and the audience is never satisfied. There will always be another upgrade, another trend, another level, another person doing more. You cannot win a game with no finish line. The better choice is to step out of the game. Define success for yourself. Maybe success means having no consumer debt. Maybe it means 6 months of expenses saved. Maybe it means investing enough to retire comfortably. Maybe it means having the freedom to work fewer hours. Maybe it means helping your parents. Maybe it means owning a small home without financial stress. Maybe it means being able to travel without putting the trip on a credit card. These goals may not impress everyone, but they can create a much stronger life. One of the best things you can do is create a private definition of wealth. Write down what financial success actually means to you without thinking about anyone else. For example, your definition might be, I want enough savings to handle emergencies, enough investments to build long-term freedom, low debt, affordable monthly expenses, and enough money to enjoy life without constant stress. That is a clear financial goal. Notice what is missing. There is no requirement that strangers think you are rich, that one change can save you an enormous amount of money. Another useful habit is to delay status purchases. If you want something mainly because it represents success, wait longer before buying it. Give yourself a month, or even several months. During that time, watch how your desire changes. Sometimes you will realize you never truly wanted the item. You wanted the feeling you thought the item would give you. Maybe you wanted respect. Maybe you wanted confidence. Maybe you wanted attention. Maybe you wanted to feel that you had finally made it. But those feelings are difficult to buy permanently. The excitement of a new purchase usually fades. Once it becomes normal, your mind starts looking for the next upgrade. This is called hedonic adaptation. Something that once felt special slowly becomes ordinary. The first week with a new car may feel exciting. Months later, it is simply the car you drive. The new phone becomes your normal phone. The expensive shoes become another pair in the closet. If you keep using purchases to create feelings of success, you will need to keep buying new things to recreate the same excitement. That cycle can quietly consume your income. A stronger habit is to build confidence from things that do not require constant spending. Improve your skills. Keep promises to yourself. Exercise. Learn. Build something. Save money. Pay down debt. Become dependable. Develop discipline. These forms of confidence are much harder for advertising to manipulate. When you are confident in who you are, you feel less pressure to show people what you own. This is where quiet wealth becomes powerful. You stop needing your lifestyle to explain your success. You know what is happening behind the scenes. You know your savings are growing. You know your investments are building. You know your debt is shrinking. You know your financial life is becoming stronger every year. That knowledge can be enough. Privacy can also protect your finances. You do not need to tell everyone how much you earn, how much you have saved, what you own, or what you are investing in. The more people know about your money, the more opinions you may receive. Someone may tell you that you should buy a better car because you can afford it. Someone may expect you to pay for everything because they think you have money. Someone may encourage you to invest in something you do not understand. Someone may compare your choices with theirs. Keeping some parts of your financial life private can help you stay focused. You do not need permission to live below your means. You do not need approval for saving aggressively. You do not need to explain why you are still using something old. You do not need to defend a simple lifestyle. Your financial plan belongs to you. Another important part of this habit is learning the difference between affordability and wisdom. Just because you can technically afford something does not mean it is a good financial decision. A bank may approve you for a large car loan. That does not mean you should take it. You may have enough income to rent a much larger home. That does not mean you need one. You may have enough savings to buy an expensive watch. That does not mean it is the best use of your money. Affordability asks, can I pay for this? Wisdom asks, is this worth what I am giving up? Every purchase has an opportunity cost. Money spent in one place cannot be used somewhere else. If you spend $5,000 on something unnecessary, that is $5,000 that cannot remain in your emergency fund. It cannot pay down debt. It cannot be invested. It cannot help you start a business. It cannot be used for another goal. This does not mean every dollar must be optimized perfectly. Life should be enjoyed. But understanding opportunity cost helps you make better decisions. Before a large purchase, ask yourself what else that money could do. Would you rather have the object or the financial freedom that money could help create? Sometimes the object will still be worth it. Sometimes it will not. The important thing is making the decision consciously. You should also be careful about debt used for status. Borrowing money for something that does not create lasting value can be especially dangerous. When you finance a lifestyle you cannot comfortably afford, you are using future income to impress people today. Think about that carefully. You are giving away hours of future work for a present image. If a car payment takes a large part of your income every month, you may be working several days each month just to maintain the car. If expensive housing pushes your budget to the limit, you may be working more hours just to maintain the appearance of a certain lifestyle. The object may be controlling more of your life than you realize. Quiet wealth tries to move in the opposite direction. Instead of using money to create more obligations, use money to remove obligations. Pay off debt, build savings, invest, reduce monthly costs, create options. The goal is to make your financial life lighter, not heavier. Another helpful rule is to focus on net worth instead of lifestyle appearance. Net worth is simply what you own minus what you owe. Someone may own an expensive car, but if they owe almost the full value of it, the car is not the same as wealth. Someone may live in a large house but carry large debts. Someone else may own fewer visible things but have strong savings and investments. Looking only at possessions gives you an incomplete picture. Tracking your own net worth can help you focus on what really matters. You do not need to compare your number with anyone else's. Simply watch your own direction. Is your debt decreasing? Are your savings increasing? Are your investments growing over time? Are your monthly obligations becoming easier to manage? If the answer is yes, you are moving in the right direction. Another important lesson is that wealthy behavior and wealthy appearance are not the same thing. Wealthy appearance often says, "Look what I can buy." Wealthy behavior asks, "How much of what I earn can I keep and grow?" One focuses outward, the other focuses forward. That difference can change your entire financial future. It is also useful to notice when spending is connected to insecurity. Maybe you feel uncomfortable when someone around you has something better. Maybe you feel that people will respect you more if you look successful. When you notice that feeling, pause before spending. Ask yourself whether buying something will actually solve the insecurity. Usually, it will not. You may feel better for a short time, but eventually, another comparison appears. The stronger solution is learning to separate your self-worth from your possessions. You are allowed to be successful without looking expensive. You are allowed to earn more without upgrading everything. You are allowed to become wealthy quietly. You are allowed to live below your means, even when people do not understand. This is especially important when your income starts increasing. The more money you earn, the more temptation you may feel to show evidence of your progress. You may think, "I worked hard. I deserve to look successful now." And yes, you should enjoy your progress, but you do not need to turn every achievement into a new expense. When your income rises, let your savings rise too. Let your investments rise. Let your emergency fund become stronger. Let your debt fall. Then choose a few lifestyle upgrades that genuinely matter to you. This creates balance. You are not denying yourself enjoyment. You are simply refusing to let enjoyment consume your future. A useful approach is to spend generously on the things you truly value and spend very little on things you do not care about. If travel matters deeply to you, save intentionally for travel. If you love good food, create room in your budget for it. If a comfortable home genuinely improves your life, that may be worth paying for. But you do not need to spend heavily in every category simply because other people do. You can drive a simple car and take amazing vacations. You can live in a modest home and invest heavily. You can wear simple clothes and spend money on education. Your financial life does not need to match anyone else's picture of success. This is another form of freedom. You choose where your money goes, not society, not advertising, not social media, not your neighbors, not your co-workers, you. There is also something powerful about becoming less predictable as your income grows. People often assume that higher income should automatically create a higher lifestyle. But imagine earning more and keeping your lifestyle almost the same for several years. The difference can become enormous. Your savings rate may rise dramatically. Your investments may grow faster. You may reach financial goals years earlier. From the outside, almost nothing changes. Inside your financial life, everything changes. This is why "get rich silently" is such a powerful idea. The silence is not only about privacy, It is about refusing to perform your progress. You do not need every financial improvement to become visible. Some of the best progress should remain invisible for a long time. Emergency savings, investments, low debt, cash reserves, business capital, retirement accounts. These things may not create compliments today, but they can create freedom later. Another benefit of not using money to prove yourself is that you become harder to manipulate. Advertising often tries to connect products with identity. Buy this, and you will look successful. Wear this, and you will look attractive. Drive this, and people will respect you. Own this, and you will feel important. Once you recognize the strategy, it becomes easier to resist. The product may still be useful, but you can separate the product from the promise. A watch tells time. A car provides transportation. Clothing covers your body and expresses style. None of these things can permanently give you self-worth. When you understand that, your wallet becomes much safer. You can appreciate products without allowing them to define you. You can also become more comfortable saying no. No to upgrades you do not need. No to expensive social plans that do not fit your budget. No to pressure from friends. No to buying something just because everyone else has it. No to debt created for appearance. Every financial no can become a yes to something more important later. Yes to savings. Yes to investing. Yes to freedom. Yes to less stress. Yes to opportunity. Yes to your future. This is why saying no is not always deprivation. Sometimes it is choosing a better yes. Another useful practice is to create a success list that has nothing to do with appearance. Write down financial wins that actually make you stronger. I saved my first $1,000. I paid off a credit card. I invested consistently for 12 months. I avoided unnecessary debt. I reduced my monthly expenses. I increased my emergency fund. I learned a new skill that increased my income. These achievements may not be visible to strangers, but they are real. Celebrate them. This helps retrain your mind to connect success with financial strength instead of financial display. You should also remember that some of the wealthiest people live much more simply than expected. They understand that money creates more value when it buys freedom instead of constant attention. A large bank balance does not require a large logo on your shirt. A strong investment portfolio does not require an expensive car. Financial independence does not need to announce itself. The more secure you become internally, the less important external proof can feel. This is why money psychology is just as important as budgeting. You can know every financial rule and still make bad decisions if your emotions control your spending. You can understand saving and still overspend because you want approval. You can understand investing and still sell at the wrong time because you are afraid. You can understand debt and still borrow for status. Financial knowledge matters, but emotional discipline determines whether you use that knowledge. Take time to understand your own spending triggers. Do you spend more when you are around certain people? Do you spend more after scrolling through social media? Do you shop when you feel stressed? Do you upgrade because you feel behind? Do you feel uncomfortable when someone else has something better? Once you identify the trigger, you can create a better response. Maybe you wait before buying. Maybe you stop following accounts that constantly make you feel inadequate. Maybe you create a budget for luxury spending so you can enjoy it without damaging your goals. Maybe you remind yourself of what you are building. Awareness creates control. Control creates options. Options create freedom. Another lesson is to stop expecting your possessions to make people respect you. Some people may be impressed by what you own, but that attention is often temporary. Real respect usually comes from how you behave, how reliable you are, how you treat people, how skilled you become, and how you handle difficulty. Money can buy a beautiful object. It cannot force genuine respect. If you spend thousands trying to win approval from people, you may discover that you purchased the object but never received the feeling you were looking for. That is an expensive lesson. The better approach is to let your character speak before your possessions do. This can also improve your relationships. When you are not constantly comparing lifestyles, you can enjoy other people's success without feeling threatened. A friend buys a nice car. Good for them. You do not need one. Someone moves into a larger house. Good for them. Your plan is still your plan. Someone travels somewhere expensive. Good for them. You can appreciate their experience without immediately spending money to match it. This emotional independence protects your finances. It allows you to celebrate people without copying them. Another powerful habit is learning to enjoy things without needing to own them. You can appreciate a beautiful car without buying it. You can enjoy a luxury hotel occasionally without needing a luxury lifestyle every day. You can admire an expensive watch without needing one on your wrist. Appreciation is free. Ownership is expensive. Not everything you like needs to become something you own. This simple idea can save you a tremendous amount of money. You should also think carefully about the type of success you want at age 50, 60, or 70. Not only what looks successful today. Would your future self rather have an expensive car from 20 years ago or a strong investment account? Would your future self rather have hundreds of old impulse purchases or financial security? Would your future self rather know that strangers were impressed with you for a few years or know that you built enough freedom to control your time? Long-term thinking makes many status purchases look less important. This is where the 10 habits in this book come together. Kakebo teaches you to know where your money goes. Motainai teaches you not to waste useful resources. Quality over quantity teaches you to buy fewer but better things. Delayed gratification teaches you to wait before spending. Paying yourself first teaches you to protect your future. Keeping your lifestyle smaller than your income creates room for wealth. Keeping possessions simple protects you from unnecessary expenses. An emergency fund protects you when life becomes difficult. Long-term investing gives your money time to grow. And this final habit protects all the others. Stop using money to prove your worth. Because if you cannot control the need to impress people, every other financial habit can eventually be destroyed. You can create a budget and still ignore it to buy status. You can build savings and empty them for an upgrade. You can invest for years and sell investments to fund a lifestyle. You can live simply and suddenly change everything because you want people to see that you have succeeded. This is why the final battle is not with money, it is with ego. Can you be financially successful without needing everyone to know? Can you become wealthier without changing your identity every year? Can you continue making smart choices even when nobody praises you? Can you choose financial freedom over financial performance? If you can, you gain one of the greatest advantages in building wealth. You stop competing. And when you stop competing, you can finally focus. You can focus on increasing income, reducing waste, building savings, investing, learning, creating, growing. Your money starts working toward your goals instead of toward other people's opinions. That is what it means to get rich silently. It is not about hiding money. It is about removing the need to perform wealth. You build quietly. You save quietly. You invest quietly. You improve quietly. You let your financial position become stronger without requiring an audience. One day, the results may become obvious. Maybe you own your home. Maybe you have enough investments to work less. Maybe debt no longer controls you. Maybe an emergency no longer scares you. Maybe you can help someone you love. Maybe you can choose how to spend your time. Those are the rewards of quiet wealth. And by then, you may realize that the best part was never looking rich. The best part was becoming free. Getting rich silently is not about hiding your success or never enjoying your money. It is about building financial strength without wasting money trying to impress people. Real wealth is often quiet. It grows through small decisions made every day, not through one lucky moment or one perfect investment. The Japanese-inspired habits in this book all teach the same basic lesson. Be intentional with what you earn, what you spend, and what you keep. Track your money with Kakebo, avoid waste with Mottainai, choose quality over quantity, delay unnecessary purchases, save before spending, keep your lifestyle below your income, own fewer useful things, build an emergency fund, invest patiently, and never use money to prove your worth. None of these habits are complicated, but they require consistency. Saving a small amount once will not change your life. Avoiding one unnecessary purchase will not make you wealthy. Investing for 1 month will not create financial freedom. The power comes from repeating these habits for years. Think about what could happen if you simply became a little better with money every month. You spend less on things you do not need. You save more automatically. Your emergency fund grows. Your debt becomes smaller. Your investments become larger. Your income increases, but your lifestyle stays under control. Slowly, the distance between financial stress and financial freedom becomes smaller. You may not notice dramatic changes in the beginning. That is normal. Quiet wealth often feels slow at first. But every good decision is building something underneath the surface. Just because other people cannot see your progress does not mean nothing is happening. There will always be pressure to spend more. New products will appear. Trends will change. Friends may upgrade their lifestyles. Social media will show you people living in expensive homes, driving luxury cars, and taking beautiful vacations. But you do not have to turn someone else's lifestyle into your financial responsibility. Stay focused on your own goals. Know what enough means for you. Know what you are saving for. Know why you are investing. Know what kind of freedom you want your money to create. When those answers become clear, it becomes much easier to ignore unnecessary pressure. Remember that earning money is only one part of becoming wealthy. Keeping money matters. Protecting it matters. Investing it wisely matters. Giving it time matters. A person can earn a very high income and still remain financially weak if everything is spent. Another person can earn much less, live carefully, save consistently, and slowly become financially independent. Your financial future is built in the gap between what you earn and what you spend. Protect that gap, grow that gap, invest that gap, and give it time. You do not need to look poor, and you do not need to avoid everything you enjoy. Money should also make your life better. Travel, if travel matters to you. Buy quality things you genuinely value. Enjoy good food. Help your family. Create experiences. The goal is not to become afraid of spending. The goal is to stop spending without purpose. Spend intentionally and save intentionally. That balance is important. And when your income increases, remember that you do not need to prove it immediately. You can keep driving the same car. You can keep using the same phone. You can remain in the same comfortable home. You can let your investments grow instead of letting your lifestyle grow. That is one of the strongest advantages you can give yourself. Let other people chase the appearance of wealth. You can build the reality of it. A strong emergency fund may not attract attention, but it can protect your family. A growing investment account may not impress anyone at dinner, but it can give you choices later. Low debt may not look exciting, but it can help you sleep better. A simple lifestyle may not create envy, but it can create freedom. And freedom is one of the best things money can buy. So start with what you have today. You do not need to wait for a higher salary, a perfect investment, or the perfect moment. Track your spending. Remove one unnecessary expense. Save a small percentage. Build your emergency fund. Learn about investing. Make your next purchase more carefully than your last one. Then repeat, month after month, year after year. Do not rush the process. Wealth built too quickly can disappear just as quickly when there is no discipline behind it. Build habits strong enough to protect the money before you focus on making more of it. One day, you may look back and realize that your life changed because of hundreds of small decisions nobody noticed. The purchase you did not make, the raise you invested instead of spending, the debt you paid off, the emergency fund you protected, the years you stayed patient, the moments you refused to compete with someone else's lifestyle. Those quiet decisions become your financial story. You do not have to tell everyone you are becoming wealthy. You do not have to prove anything. Keep your expenses controlled. Keep your savings growing. Keep learning. Keep investing. Keep your goals clear and your lifestyle intentional. Let your money become louder than your image. Let your freedom become more important than your status. And remember the final lesson of this entire book. You do not need to look rich to become rich. Build quietly, stay patient, and get rich silently.